If it's knowledge, humour, or a different perspective that you seek, look for the wisdom in the words that we speak. Words and wisdom. We'll let you decide.
Hello and welcome back to Words and Wisdom. If you're a regular listener, or if you're a regular listener. If you are new to the podcast, welcome aboard. This podcast, basically what we do is we question the constraints of society's conditioning upon ourselves, and we help you to break away by giving you tools and techniques to deal with your trials and tribulations on a day-to-day basis.
Love it. And again, guys, we don't claim to be experts in anything other than a field of ourselves. And with that, we want to help you. So today's episode, Zach, is...
Today we're going to talk about mentorship, wisdom, mistakes, and what we've learned along the way in that respect.
So I feel with me, because I came through with this question to you and I didn't know how to word it, but I think mentors is probably one of the best ways to go about it. Because inadvertently, I think I've had a lot of mentors in my life, but without knowing till a lot later on. I've been trapped in a lot of ideologies, thoughts, opinions, beliefs, and sort of said them with such authority and just going forward with this baton. Everyone listen to me, I know what's going off, listen. And I think it was just young, naive Mikey on a bit of a rampage. But I've reflected back and thought about mentors in my life and people that have been there to try and help me in times where they've seen a nice kid, a young, nice person, but a bit confused and a little bit needing guidance. And they've not sat me down too much and just slapped me about and said, "Oi lad, sort it out." But they've been giving me metaphor and ideas and messages on the way. I'll go to a guy I remember quite well because I wrote down a few people last night on my phone thinking, who's actually helped me? And I didn't have much help, I don't think, growing up as a kid. It was confusing and just hard times. I was bullied horrendously and horrifically. And there wasn't somebody going, try this, or let's go in together and work it out. So I had a lot of scars and imprints and pain from that. I ended up going travelling. And this mentor came in the airport when I was travelling.
Just came in the airport?
He came... What a boy.
Dirty mind.
Yeah. It came from there. And, you know, he was a big grizzly. He looked like you, mate. That's what he looked like.
Really handsome.
A big
large, broad
beard.
Shoulders.
He looked well travelled, let's say. I thought, oh no.
Lockdown will do that to you.
I hope he doesn't sit next to me. And of course, I put that out into the universe and the ether, and he came and sat next to me.
The universe has got a funny way of doing that.
It likes to teach you things.
It does, yeah.
Cheers, uni. Then sat next to me, but I quite enjoyed his demeanour. I liked what he was like as a character. He was just making jokes about people around the airport, being Australian really, like, fucking hell mate, look at him over there. And I was just having a giggle with him. But later on we got on the plane, and guess who I sat next to?
The great big bushy beard.
My big bushy beard bloke. And I thought, you know, I'll take this as an opportunity. I'm not going to dismiss it. I'm going to try and sit and have a good conversation with him. So we did. And we decided to talk about life and important, metaphorical, beautiful language that I thought, I've never spoke like this in my entire existence. So I said to him, he goes, what are you going to do then when you get to Melbourne? What are you doing here? And I just was like, oh, girls, partying, drugs, all those sort of things I'd done back at home. And he went, don't be a fucking idiot, mate. I went, why? He goes, you're travelling. You've come here to experience the world. You've come here to see new culture. You've come here to see what the world's capable of and the infinite ways of being. I know that's quite deep.
Yeah, but you was going in with a belief system. Well, you was going in with a caged belief system and an understanding of what the world is. Your understanding of the world was women at this point. Women probably still is. Women, alcohol, drugs, party.
Different type of women.
It's like we take our understanding of what fun is and we go over there. We're going to travel and do it over there. It's like, no, because you've got other things to experience over there. So I think that's kind of what you was.
And he really, we were on there for hours, this plane journey, and he explained about the senses and your five senses, but how integral and important it is to access all of them when you're traveling and really get an understanding of the smells. When you go to Thailand or when you go to Japan or wherever you're going, take it all in through your senses and smell everything. Obviously, you've got your sightseeing and what you're surrounded by, but tastes, they're so important to go and taste the culture, feel the culture. And I was just listening for hours. He was talking at me, but I don't think he understood how important that conversation was. And when, like you just said then, I saw life in a certain vision, in a certain way, he was just opening up doors and doors and doors and doors. And it wasn't till quite later on, after I did get dropped off at Australia, went back to my certain ways of being, you know, the girls again, the partying again, and felt hollow and felt lost and thinking, why isn't this working? I'm all the way over in a nice hot temperatured country, but I feel lost again. And then I reflect back to what this guy said on the aeroplane, and I started to immerse myself in the culture and try and do the proper travelling side of things and meet people and connect and see what the world is about. So it's being fed in by people, ideas, and take you out of your trap ways of thinking, but really learning to listen to them.
One simple conversation that you could have easily avoided by just being like...
Don't want to sit next to Grizzly
Or
Man.
even if he sat next to you and you was like, yeah. Look, I'm going to put my headphones in. If you went down that route, you would have never had this conversation. You might never experience what you got to experience because you wasn't aware of it, because you didn't have that. It's amazing how these simple conversations we have in life, throughout our life, sort of depict how we think and how we feel without even knowing it. Like, I could have said something to you 7 years ago, and you might not have thought about it, but your subconscious has taken it in. And then 7 years later, you go, but you might not even remember that I've said it, because it's not about, Zach said that, or it's not about giving people recognition or having recognition for something that you said. It's just the fact that you said those words, and those words were now used in a positive way. That's one thing that I wanted to, because you asked me to think about mentors and wisdom that they gave me that changed the course of my life. You asked me to think about that. And in all honesty, mate, the way that I see my life now, and I'm not sure I've always seen it like this, is that everybody I've ever encountered, to a degree, has been a mentor. Because let's say I go to Aldi, and I'll give you an example. I was at Aldi maybe last year, and I was in a real grumpy mood. And this one old man, you know, when people are behind you in the line of the what's it called, the conveyor belt that pushes the food, the conveyor belt that pushes the food when you're paying at the till. That's the one.
Till.
The till, mate. I was stood there, and there was an old man behind me, and it's like he was trying to usher me along, and he pushed his trolley into the back of me. And I turned around, and I was ready to give him a fucking earful, but obviously it's an old man and this, that, and everything else. And the emotion came up. I was angry. I felt like I'd been done wrong. And then I looked at the emotion, and then I dealt with the emotion. I turned around. I was like, it's not even worth it. So he was a mentor to me, because he helped me to learn a lesson that day. Because I could have easily lashed out and gone into my old way of thinking, just like you could have gone into your old way of thinking by going for the women, the party and the booze. I could have gone for the violence and that sort of stuff. And I learned something that day because of that man. And it's the same with every interaction that you have with people. Even though it might be a small lesson, it might be like, for example, I might be having a conversation and I might say a word in a certain way that offends somebody. Now, if I'd have said it the other way, I used a different word, I wouldn't have offended them. There's a lesson learned. So, in terms of mentorship, now, I do agree there are certain people in life, or certain pivoting points in life. Certain pillars of life, where I look back and I think, wow, they really made an impact. And those are, for me, are usually my close people. But like you say, you can have the random occurrence where it's like, wow, that was profound. That really opened something up for me. I mean, one for me was... that springs to mind straight away is my old girlfriend, who's now one of my best friends. She taught me how to love again after being so long of having my barriers up and not feeling anything, not giving any love out as well. She she taught me, because basically we broke up. I wasn't feeling it anymore for whatever reason, and I told her, and we went our separate ways. But we were still friends after that. We were still having sex after that. We were still meeting up, and I said to her, like, this is all it is. I was very honest. I was also sleeping with other people, of which I was honest about. I'm very that's
open book.
Yeah, that's my moral compass is I like to be honest with people. And she says that's fine. Like, she continued, and I remember one time during that period I couldn't afford to eat because I was going through self-employment and couldn't afford to eat, and she came with bags of food and she fed me, even though I was, and I said, I thought, what? I said to her, why are you doing this for me? I feel like I'm using you. She says, because I love you unconditionally. She says,
That's
I don't care about me. She says, I'm happy. Yeah? She says, I just want you to be happy. And I was like, that's what real love is. That was one pivotal moment in my life, is understanding that real love is not that you need to be happy, it's that you want the other person to be happy. That's how you really love someone. So just going back to what I was saying is, yeah, there is pivotal people. I can't remember them because they all blend into one, but I'm very grateful for every single interaction that I've ever had in life, whether it's with an ex-girlfriend or a friend where we had an altercation, or maybe we came to fisticuffs, with the friend, not the girlfriend. Come on. But there's even aspects of that sort of stuff, and I realised that I'm very grateful. I'm apologetic for anything that I've ever done wrong or hurt people, but I'm also very grateful for them to give me the ability to learn from that situation. So I'm grateful for everybody in my life, and they've all been mentors. You yourself, Mikey, you've been a great mentor to me in terms of like speaking, being able to string my words together and being able to be emotive with my words, and just how you and Chrissy are. You and Chrissy as a relationship are a mentor to me, understanding that I can have a good relationship, because I had the belief system that all relationships are bad and they're going to end in this and it's a train wreck, and then you come along and Jono comes along with good relationships, and my brain goes, I respect these people. They've got something good that I want to have. That means I can get it too. And it's about influence. It's about being influenced. And then it leads us on to, you have to be careful with who you're talking to, what conversations you're having, what music you're listening to, what documentaries are you watching. Like, are you watching EastEnders? Because we are very, very influenced so easily. We're so easily influenced. And if you don't believe me, just check what music people listen to all the time and check how they act. You've got like roadmen listening to this roadman music and they're acting like roadmen. You've got country songs, and then you've got people living a country life. And
of course.
It's not. I'm not saying it's 100% accurate all the time. I'm saying there's a large influence. If you're watching horror films all the time, you're probably going to be on edge all the fucking time, because that's what the
culture of influencers now, isn't there?
Yes.
So there's definitely a market for it.
100%. Well, that's what Instagram works off of. It works off of you being influenced by certain things. So our brains are like sponges, mate, and we've got the little conscious brain, which is like whatever percent, maybe 10%, which we can say, okay, I want to be influenced by that, and I want to be influenced, and I want to do this. Then you've got the subconscious that soaks up more than you realise. So as well as having the good mentors, there's the stuff that you can absorb, which can become a good mentor if you look at it the right way.
I completely agree, and I like what you said about you becoming your own mentor and taking in those altercations you could have had and learning from that. I suppose my time, and when I asked you this question as well, I was reflecting on times where I'd been trapped as a person in a certain philosophy and found a way out of it because of said people and certain people. I remember I came back from travelling, and I wouldn't expect in my life to put my mum as a mentor, because, to be truthful, our relationship in life was somewhat negative, and we had a hard patch together, quite angry, authoritative, and conflict. But when I come back from travelling, I remember being a bit of a mini Russell Brand, or thinking, oh, we need to change, because I've seen other ways of being, and thinking, this is all fake, what I'm living in now, and it doesn't make sense that we're in a rat race or caught in a trap and been caged inside of it. So I'm like, everyone's depressed, everyone's down, nobody gets it, everyone should change, we need more of this. And we went on a walk together, and the conflict came, but she did say something quite important, I feel, and she said, you know what, not everybody's like miserable as you're making out, not everybody's hurting the way you are, you need to reflect on you more than you do on everybody else. And that was a punch in the face from me mum. That was a go, here's your ego, snap, throw a piece over there and a piece over there. But I did then. That's pretty much where the quote I say now or has come from. The only people I'm speaking to now are the ones in pain, the ones looking to change, and the ones that need help. Because I was of that. I needed somebody, and I'm trying to speak to them now. I'm not going around going, everything needs to be different.
And on that topic, mate, it's something I've actually wrote down is one of the pivotal pillars of my life, as well as a good mentor, is actually pain itself. Because so sometimes who are we to say, you need to be happy and you need to... I strongly believe that we need patches of our life, periods of our life, that are uncomfortable, that are painful, that push us in the right direction. Like with pain is a great motivator.
Yeah.
It's been said many times by many intelligent people, including myself. No, pain is a great motivator because if you're uncomfortable, you're going to move. You know, there's going to be a certain point where you crack and you go, I need to get out of this fucking situation.
Yeah.
So for us to go wave a magic wand and go, I'm going to cure you of yours and yours and yours and yours, you'd be doing them a disservice in a way. Now, you can be there for said person or whatever, as with the words, like you said. You might say the right words at the right time, and you might be that mentor. But maybe they need that pain. And I see it as like a jigsaw. It's like it's out of our control, but we have some control within it.
And I had a very sort of political agenda, and I wanted the outside world and the exterior to all be different. And I really like the Jordan Peterson style, go home and change your room first, tidy your room up before you're going out there and changing the world. Because my room was messy, man, and we can think about my literal room that I'm sleeping in or my brain. And both of them weren't well put together, pieced together and flattened out. It was all over the place. So in that moment, I feel like my mum told me to go and do some homework on self first and go back and think about what you're adding and what you're doing for your own life.
How did you feel when she said that? Did your ego kind of get a bit...
It collapsed, to be honest. I didn't argue back like I would have normally.
Right.
Because I think she spoke so much sense in one moment that it was just more of a, I've got to reflect on this now.
Yeah,
I've got to think about that.
I've got like I just had a thought that sometimes when people say the most profound, life-changing things to us, in the moment we don't really take it on board. Sometimes we can get defensive, or because the ego can go no, and then you go away and it kind of sinks in a little bit, and it's like, oh. But then sometimes, like you said, your ego can just collapse and it can hit you there dead in the moment.
It was quite pivotal. Yeah, it was. And I've definitely felt that with my ego before, flaming up and going, no, remember what you think. But a recent mentor really has said, wear your opinions like clothing, and it can come off and change. And even when somebody goes against it, they're not attacking you and your skin and your insides. It's just the things you're wearing. So I'm not too attached to them now. And that was starting to see differently on my opinions aren't all inside here. She's getting in the depth of me. She's just trying to layer back or peel off certain ideas that I've got that might not be serving me, because she's my mum and she does love me and she wanted to help me in that time, and I think she saw it was spinning me into the ground and causing me more pain to have these ideas bubbling up all the time, wishing things were different, when I have got control over what I can do for my life and how I can think and what I can feed myself with information. I think that's a great thing what my mum did for me that day. Yeah. And I really thank her.
And also
for
something that you said within that story, and something that you messaged me about, was just because we think we know the answers, they're not necessarily right or wrong at any given moment. Like, they might be right for you within that part of your lifetime, but they might be wrong for somebody else within that part of their lifetime. So it's not that your answers are necessarily right, but our ego likes to make us think that we know, because we watched a video or we read a book and we know. We get very attached to that. But there's something really freeing that I find about accepting that you don't really know anything.
Amen, brother.
It's so freeing, man. It's like, you know what? I don't actually know anything.
It's refreshing.
I've got ideas and I've got experiences, and I can give you those if you want them.
And I enjoy conversation.
And I enjoy conversation. I enjoy talking, but I don't really have any fixed beliefs on. And I don't even necessarily firmly believe I'm a human being. Like, I sometimes have the thought, like, It's funny how all the animals are walking around eating grass and they seem to live in harmony, but when we walk through, they all run away. And when we look at us and when we understand what we are actually aliens to this earth anyway. And that's what but that's not necessarily a truth. It's just an opinion and a belief and something that I enjoy entertaining. But I wouldn't.
I love that, man.
It's just literally that. It's very free and not having to know everything all the time, because it gets stressful.
And why not be able to have these cool, fascinating conversations between friends and each other to add in, rather than being called a stupid conspiracy theorist? You don't know what you're on about. Oh, just stop thinking outside of that, Zach. Stop being like that. That's who you are as a person. And for people to connect on that and value with that, I love it. I could talk to you all day, and I know we do, but it feeds apart my soul because I know you're being your true self.
Yeah. Well, that's like you said, if you wanted people to come over to that, let's say people are, because this podcast is about questioning the constraints of society's conditioning.
Yeah.
What's one of the main ways that society conditions us is through media outlets. It's through music, it's through film, it's through news, it's through games, it's through things like that. Whether it's purposely done or whether it's a byproduct of, it still happens. I'm not either here or there. It's just an influence, and how you perceive it is also part of that influence. So it's a big pie with many different pieces to it. But if you want to break somebody out of that single way of thinking so they can experience the enjoyment of other, what I find works best is simply just enjoying it. Instead of going, like we spoke about earlier, instead of going, no, this is the thing that you need to look at because this is, you go, because they go, whoa, that's a lot of energy that I don't need in my life right now. But if you go, mate, I've been watching some crazy shit, man. And they go, oh, what have you been watching? Like, you want to know? Like, you don't want to know. No, I want to know. Oh, you want to know? Because now they're receptive. So you've got to, there's ways of doing it. And like we spoke about earlier, you can't go in with that energy of, I'm telling you, this is what I enjoy. Feel free to jump on.
Yeah, did anybody help you with that? Because we know we've been caught up in everyone think like this before. And anybody go, Zach, just try enjoying it and being fun with it, and people will steer towards you if you've got that sort of energy about you.
I think it was so one of the best mentors is yourself and your experience.
Completely.
So my experience was, nobody wanted to be around me. Nobody enjoyed. Honestly, nobody. Because people used to say, "Oh, don't." I remember my 21st birthday. There was a birthday party of a girl that was 18 on the same day, and everybody got invited. But the only person on the list that wasn't allowed was me on my 21st birthday, man. And I fully understand. I wasn't a nice human being to be around, so I had to learn through discomfort and pain, going home and crying, oh, woe me.
I get you, man.
I had to learn how to make people want to be around me. I had to learn it, and then obviously I've read books, how to win friends and influence people. It's perfect, and you have to learn these things through books, to experience. So did anyone teach me? Maybe. That I can't really give you a name, but I think every interaction that I had with people, I picked up on a certain aspect, like if I listen more, they feel heard and they enjoy. It's funny because I've had a transition in my life recently where I used to have to ask people to want to be around me. Like, can we go and do something? Now I get people asking me, and it's quite emotional for me because I haven't. No, it's not like a woe me moment. It's I didn't know how to create relationships. Now people say, Zach, do you want to? And I'm like, oh, that's so nice that people. I've found the piece of me that was broken and I've fixed it. So yeah.
I like that. I love what you said about listening as well. I remember, do you know Dathan Horridge? Shruzik is his music.
Maybe when I see him. I've met Dathan. I've met Dathan before.
He's been down here, a very talented musician.
Yeah.
Very sporadic mind, crazy like us. And I remember I was in the height of my struggles mentally, in all the predispositions you can call yourself, the schizophrenic as we spoke about. And I remember talking to him, probably on substance or something, really passionately and again angrily about this should happen, this should be more like this. I want even my mum to be like this, and my dad should listen in this way. And he goes, oi, have you thought about listening? And I was like, I do listen. And he went, shut up. No, you're not. Are you listening now? I thought, I'm trying. No, from what I've had in this conversation, from what we've been saying, from people talking to you, I don't think you're listening. And it takes a good friend to be able to talk to you in that way and be able to sort of slap you out of it. And that's a big moment I remember in my time scale of somebody having a bit of a go at me. No friend had managed to do that before. They'd seen me running around, being a bit crazy, wild, the journey I was on. And I think they like to see me as a canary down the mine. I wonder how far he's going to go on this drug cycle. I wonder how far he's going to go down here. This would be quite cool to see what happens to someone. He told me to stop. He told me to listen. He told me to change.
Well, this is sometimes we need that mentor as well. That's the mentor that we need most. And this is why this whole political correctness, love yourself, be careful, be loving. Yeah, we need all that, but we also need the opposite. We need someone to come up to us and say, you're doing some shit wrong at the minute, mate. And if you don't change, this is what is going to happen. And like I said, that's what I was alluding to earlier. Oh, that was a nice word. That's what I was alluding to earlier, is sometimes we feel a bit attacked and a bit offended when someone tells us the truth.
Yeah.
Now, you said you felt like people was letting you go down the mine and, let's see how far he goes. It'll be a laugh. I think sometimes it is that. And I think also sometimes it is people like, I don't want to tell him. I don't know how to tell him. And I don't want to offend him by telling him. So we don't tell these people, but sometimes I've noticed it takes some balls to go when I'm trying to help somebody and they're in a tough place. I'm like, you need to get your shit together. You've done this for long enough now, and now you need to sort. And sometimes I feel like I have to brave myself, and I don't want to offend them. But you know, when I actually go through with that way of speaking to them, or that mentorship, shall I call it? It actually works. It's like, that's what they needed. They needed a verbal slap.
There's a great art form in it, becoming the mentor, and how you give that information and dish that advice. It's who the person is, what do they need in that time, has it gone too far, do we need to intervene and come a part of this, do we need to let him go and find his own discoveries, where are we on this path? And it's just being wise.
And also, what's our own, like you said earlier, what's our own bedroom like? If I'm telling you to be better with women, and I'm going around manipulating women and sleeping with lots of women, am I the right person to give you that information and influence you?
Completely.
Of course I'm not.
Because if I, to be honest now, had a young Mikey come to me and start trying to mentor me on what life needs to be, I'm feeling good in my life at the minute. So I'll be like, relax, mate. I don't need to really change my parameters too much now. I'm in a very good place, and it's took me a long time to get to it. So I've been that person, that young Mikey, to people that are living it and doing well. So if we're going to be mentors, it's picking your situations, picking your moments, picking the people, and finding the right time. You don't need to give it to people that are in their place at the minute, in their good space, and found it for themselves and got there. We can be just good parts of that person's life and come with a different energy and a different speaking.
Yeah, that's the best kind of mentorship.
I found it in my existence where I was trying to mentor people and everyone and anything and wherever I was, and it was just being detrimental more than anything, because I wanted the change again. I forgot other people, talking to them, listening to them, how they might be feeling. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've definitely been on that path, and now, as I always reflect to, I'm just here for those who are asking.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what we need.
Do you know what as well? Like I'm here for those that are asking. I find that's really important. People need to be receptive to information.
Amen, brother. That's a very true.
But I'm also getting to a point in life where if I see someone struggling, but they aren't willing to ask for help, sometimes I'll be like, I can't help them anyway because they haven't asked. I'm at the point now where I'm maybe developing skills.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put my ego aside. If they reject it, I'm not going to feel hurt.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's my duty to see if I can make give this person something to help them to feel better. It's my duty. And if I can't, then at least I tried. And maybe I can't help them in the moment, but like 7 years later, like we say, plant the seed. So I think there is an aspect of that to it as well. And it's just about leaving your ego at the door and not being butthurt when they go, I don't need your help right now. Because I've said that to people and they've been like, shit, I needed that.
Yeah. And I will give two mentions to Martin Illingworth and Ian Gilbert, who have been massive in my life, to be honest. I had a horrid relationship with what I thought of education and what I thought to the system. But they're two people that picked me up, enjoyed my passion, enjoyed what I was doing and what I was trying to give out, brought me back into education and showed me how vital it was and how important it can be and how beautiful of an experience it can be. It's just been manipulated, twisted and turned into an evil force to some degree, and just done wrong. Again, like you could say, has it been done on purpose or is it a byproduct of a system that's just been deployed incorrectly?
Yeah, and also how have you viewed it? Like how your interactions with the education system or with school, let's call it, have manipulated how you see and feel about it, so you see it as a devil when it might not be necessarily a devil. So there's that. So basically Martin came along, and Ian, did you say?
Ian Gilbert, yeah.
They came along and just showed you an alternative way of viewing it.
Yeah, there is another way, and I very much vouch and believe in that, you know, how we see education and that very stereotypical picture that people see. If you've got a zoo and everybody's in this zoo, all the animals are asked to climb the tree, the monkeys are going to do the best, and they're going to get to the very top of it. The fish are going to stay at the bottom, and their ethos and philosophy towards education was treat everybody differently. There's a perfect way for everybody. There's a uniqueness and a superpower, as you always speak about, in everybody. Let's try and find their flame. Let's try and find their flower to grow. And Martin's got this awesome film out called The Only Fresh Air Is Outside in the Yard. And it's of this kid that's in education, not been seen, not been picked up, and all the way through the film is just being overlooked. And then suddenly they see he's won a competition in the newspaper and he goes fishing with his granddad. And all the teachers get together and realise, oh, this kid's got a passion. So the art teacher the next day gets him drawing fish, and the science teacher gets him looking at the biology of fish and using what he's interested in and what his passion is, and all of them go on this journey to help this kid through his passions, and that gets them on board to their subjects and their lessons.
That's very powerful.
It's a beautiful thing, and that to me spurred me on the path of passion and how important it is and my purpose to life, and I hope to help other people find their purpose in life through passion. And what's your
I want to there's a few transitioning quite nicely off what you just said there. The game, I want to talk about some game changers for us, you know, where we've found our passion and there was things in our life, pillars and pivotal moments that directed us in that way where we think we're heading now, where we are right now, and you know, we're quite happy. So game changers for me, the first one I wrote down was self-belief. So that was a huge game changer. As a kid, I was always like, I can't climb this, and I can't do this, and I can't do, and I couldn't at the time physically, but maybe a lot of it was just belief. Then what I did is I started working out. So physical fitness was a thing for me, a game changer. And because I could increase my weight every week or every month or whatever, and then I started seeing muscle gains, I had this belief like instilled in me, like, oh, I have the ability to change my physical body, therefore I can change things around me, my life, the direction of it. So self-belief, physical fitness. Other game changers was nutrition. Nutrition was a huge game changer for me, like, and that's something that I'm still studying now, is, and you know this, you're what have you got? Celiac.
Yeah.
You know, when you eat gluten, you feel like shit, mate.
Last night, bro. I'm struggling today. Can you tell?
Bro. So, and this is the thing, like, the stuff we put in our body will make us feel better or worse. And, like, I know that when I stick to a more wholesome diet and avoiding the stuff that makes me feel bad, I'm starting to get the gluten intolerance as well. I know when I leave that alone, I feel incredible. So, there's game changers, nutrition, fitness, what else we got? Motivational speakers videos, educational videos, books, The Power of Now, The Path to Enlightenment, you know, like the whole idea of being in the present moment. You spoke about the 5 senses. I was eating my yogurt last night, and I found myself thinking of something while I was eating it and not actually tasting the yogurt. And I was like, oh, that's a bit strange. So I was like, I just closed my eyes. It's a bit, I was like, yeah, this yogurt, dude. So I was doing a bit hippie, but I just put my attention on the yogurt and it tasted like 10 times better. I was like, oh, that's what it tastes like. Because we get distracted by things all the time. So The Power of Now is a great book for that. The Path to Enlightenment helped me to view myself and my tendencies towards negative emotions better. So I also got meditation, semen retention, and we spoke about pain as well. So
and all of these have come from mentors in essence, because you've found authors, you've found videos and journeys to go on. With the training, for example, is there anyone in particular where you plateaued or you didn't know where to start, you didn't know how to do it?
My stepdad was big into bodybuilding, so even though we never really saw eye to eye all the time, he was around for most of my life, and he was big into bodybuilding. So as a young kid, obviously brain like a sponge, he's walking around and he used to pick me up on his biceps, and I'd see him having his protein and how much he enjoyed it. And it's funny because through school I was a fat kid that hated PE, but then I started training with him in my bedroom with a little bench and a barbell and stuff like that, and he taught me the way, and he really lit the fire for me. So he was a huge mentor in my life, cool. Even though in both ways, he was a positive mentor, and he went his own way, and I felt a lot of pain about how he left, which was also a mentor in itself. So in terms of the training, it was him.
Okay, and same with nutrition and stuff. Him again, or have you veered to any interesting authors or interesting videos where you thought, oh, this is a different path I've not thought of?
I think nutrition, a lot of it was just interest in it. I was interested in what food did for me and why it did it for me. And then what I'd do is I'd Google it. I'd be like, what nutrients has a cashew nut got? Okay. I'd be like, oh, that's cool. What does that do? And then I'd go. So I guess Google was a mentor.
Yeah.
There's no one specific person I follow. I like to just explore,
learn.
But there are certain points in my life where there is a pillar person or a pivotal person. So
I think that's what my thought for this conversation wanted to be, is just being conscious and aware of when these people come into our lives and learning to respect it and listen out for them moments. And there might be a lot that I've missed along the way because I was just running around willy-nilly, not thinking about it, looking out for it. But the more you learn to listen for it and look out for it, the more it comes into your life. And it is important to take on what everyone else is doing, how everyone else is acting, and picking the right bits for you, because we don't have enough time on this planet to make all the mistakes. We don't have enough time to go.
I'll give it a go.
Bloody hell, I've tried. but being susceptible to taking on what other people can deliver for you and give for you is really important for growth in my eyes.
100%, mate. I'm gonna pop a quote in on the end of that I've just thought from what you said. Learn to listen, and eventually you will have the ability to listen to learn.
Did you just make that?
Oh, mate.
Dude.
Plato, Socrates, Aristotle,
mate. Type that in on Google later.
Type it, right.
It'll already be there because you would have put it on.
I went back in time and
I'm feeling.
Anyway, guys, a beautiful conversation there. I really hope you found some value in that. If you did, leave us a thumbs up, share the video, hit subscribe, be our friends because we're yours.
Guys, learn to listen. Big love. Peace.